are we?
Right, so good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world. Yes, it's Friday night, wherever you are in the world, or Friday morning or Friday evening. Over here, it's the evening anyway. Back on the Easy Talk, I've got Glenn. Glenn, how are you?
I'm good, I'm good. Thanks for having me again. Second time on the show. Glad to do it again.
Yeah, I did say to you, it won't be the last time. We will get you back on the East Talk, didn't I, Glenn? I try
of course, you still do owe me a cake from the anniversary
though. I missed out on all this.
You have to speak to IG about that, Glenn. And after his hiatus, back as my my co-host and my brother, Raz. What's happening?
Yeah, I'm good, Alex, and it's good to meet you, Glenn. I've been well away with work and other commitments, so I'm just glad to get back onto this Easy Talk bite size, and yeah, it'd be good to thrash out the subjects, as it were.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's Friday night over here, or Friday morning or Friday evening, and yeah, I think we're going to get into it. There's quite a few topics, hot topics. One of which is Lacazette, Mube's favorite gunner, who scored the goal against Olympiakos. But yeah, what's going to happen on Sunday? It is a Sunday game, isn't it, against Everton?
I believe it is.
Sunday.
I believe it's
Sunday.
Yeah.
Is it early kickoff? Or
no,
we got it? Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah. So I got my prediction wrong for the game against Olympiakos, and I seem to have upset some people, But you know what?
Yeah.
Let's get into it. Oh, I just love that intro. I love that intro. So, like I said, welcome back to the Easy Talk. It is going to be a bite size. We don't seem to be doing many feature length versions of the Easy Talk Friday night specialist. Yeah. So the first thing we actually wanted to talk about was about this situation that Arsenal went to Olympiakos, in the stadium. Welcome to hell, and they stole the 3 points, Glenn. They stole 3 points.
Yeah, of course. To be honest, I was really, really surprised by how good Olympiakos are. But by viewing their record, their past record, especially this season, they've only lost once, and that was to Bayern Munich, and it was a 3-2 loss. But I didn't expect it to be easy because we've visited there 4 times before, and we've lost 3. So it was definitely going to be a hard game. And I was really concerned when it got to the 80th minute without a goal, because it only takes them to come back to our place and score just 1 goal, and we're in trouble. So that goal was really, really decisive, and everything changed as soon as Aubameyang was taken to the left. So he was a bit wasted on the right. So yeah.
Yeah, Raz, your thoughts on last night's game?
Well, I didn't see. I only saw like in snippets with highlights. Again, just down to work. But from what I had a kind of feeling that we might win. I did put down it was going to win 2-1, and that was going to be very dogged. But let's face it, it's only the first half. You know what I mean? It's very difficult for us to go away to Olympiakos, as Glenn mentioned, that we've only won once out of the 4 visits there. And they are a very dogged kind of team as well. But I don't know. I think the way that Arteta's got us playing, although they did seem to have quite a lot of possession, from what I gather, in the first half and going into the second half. But we did have chances as well. I think Lacazette had a couple of chances where the game could have been buried a lot earlier. But massive plaudits to the team. They've grinded out. This is what we want from Arsenal. We want them to start grinding out results away from home. At home, though, it's going to be a different kettle of fish because Olympiakos have to come out now. And I don't think they're really that... I don't think they're really that. They're confident. They know they have to come out and play. And I think really, it's our defensive record at home is not too shabby really at this moment in time. So we need to lock down and score a couple of goals. But I've got a feeling that there's going to be quite a few goals in the return leg.
Yeah, Glenn, what's your summarization on Lacazette, because he did miss a couple of chances. I know there was like one chance, I think, within the first 10 minutes, and then one later on where he could have put, you know, the tie to bed, as it were.
Yeah, just before I get to that, just to add to Raz's point, I'd also predicted that 2-1, expected them to score, and we were lucky for them not to score in the first 10 minutes. I had a crazy stat about in the last 19 games Olympiakos have played, they've scored in the first 10 minutes in 11 of those 19 games. So that's why they got into very, very fast, quick start, and we were lucky to keep the clean sheet fast, and that's a positive right now, keeping clean sheets. And about Lacazette, obviously we know he has the quality. He scores goals, although the last few games he hasn't been clinical enough. He's been played in the correct position, and like we can make an excuse for the likes of Martinelli and Aubameyang being played out of position, but for him, he's being played in the correct position. I guess every player goes through those kind of patches. I mean, even Messi goes 10 games, although it's rare, without scoring. So maybe this is his patch. So I'm expecting him to come out of it. 2 games, 2 goals in 2. So
yeah. And your thoughts, Raz, on Lacazette, who missed a couple of. I guess, you know what, the goal is a goal, and we shouldn't really be complaining that much.
Yeah, I know a goal's a goal, and I don't want to get on his case, because obviously it's a confidence kind of issue. When a striker goes without goals, the pressure is on him. He may see a youngster come up like Martinelli up in the ranks and take his chances. But in the time when Martinelli is not there, or when we've drifted out to Aubameyang, he's the next best thing, and he's got to start putting his chances away, because again it reinforces more confidence, and he becomes more of a threat as well when he steps on the field. 2 chances out of the 3 chances altogether, 2 chances. One of them he should have buried, really, but okay, he scored. So in the return leg, when he's at home, he should feel a lot more confident he's going to score again as well. But I'm a bit old school. I tend to think that, you know, if you don't take your chances earlier on, knowing that the opposition knows they have to try and mark you out of the game, or do what they have to do in order to get you out of the game, it's going to rely on the other players as well to take their chances as well.
Yeah. There was one player who was just like, he was battered and bruised, Glenn. He was in the wars.
Your favorite, Guendouzi. I know a couple of people have been really not happy with his performances, and some people are saying he holds on to the ball too much. I'd agree with that, but let's not forget that when we signed him, I think it's Emirates signed him. I actually expected him to come and join the under-21 team for a couple of years before joining into the first team, but he came straight into the Man City game, straight into the Chelsea game, and we were shocked. Let's be honest. Overall, if you look at the last 2 seasons, he's overperformed more than underperforming. So he's also been picked for France before, ahead of very many quality players. So I think he really has a bright future. Yes, as I've said about Lacazette, players go through tough patches. And for a young player like that one, we are seeing with Niles. Niles started well, poor right now. Willock started the season well, nowhere to be seen right now. He was a bit lackluster yesterday, by the way. Martinelli himself yesterday didn't perform yesterday. And another thing I would say, I was shocked to see that first team playing yesterday. I thought Arteta would change a few things, maybe start Nelson, or maybe bring Niles in, or maybe start bench Aubameyang. So it really showed that Arteta knew what he was doing, and he knew it was going to be a tough game. That's why he went strong.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone's seen Gooners in Vancouver, presented by Stan the Man, he does actually say in the first open minutes that he thought that Arteta set out the team being prepared to be bullied. And that's the reason why he put, Socrates on the right-hand side. But then he thought, why not put Kolasinac on the left side, actually where Saka played. And Saka, he had a blinding game. Another assist, Raz. Another assist for this youngster.
He's gone?
I think he's gone. Yeah. He's got a funny look on his face. I think he's got a problem with his Wi-Fi. Yeah, Glenn, you know, about Saka, you know, 18 years of age, and he's just playing a blinder in a position that is not his. He's not accustomed to playing, you know, at fullback. You know, again, what do you think about Saka? Fantastic.
Two members disappear.
Oh, he's back.
Sorry, guys. I don't know what to do from here on in. I could fill space, or I can hope that two of you will come back in.
Are you with us?
There we go. There we go. You're both back.
Yeah.
No, we've been here.
I had a blank screen. I was thinking, we're live, guys. Where have you gone? So it must be me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Can you hear me still?
Yeah, we were talking about Guendouzi.
So we're saying about Saka.
Yeah, and Saka.
Oh. Okay. Well, I was saying about Saka. He's making that left side his own, and quite rightly. And I think that's what you need to do when a youngster's got confidence, and he assists and he's helped out with a couple of goals. You got to keep playing him, not to burn him out. He's gathering more experience in his role at this moment in time, and the team is performing with him as well. So I think it's really going to be key for Arteta to keep him in. And let's face it, Tierney, I think, is probably shaking his boots at this moment in time as well, because he's thinking, well, you guys got me in, and yet you got this 18-year-old who's working wonders at the moment. So competition is really good, and that's what we want. We want competition to be good in the squad, because you just don't know what's going to happen, you know, or what's going to come around the corner. So yeah, Saka, great. Guendouzi, you want to talk about Guendouzi, or are we going to put it in another segment?
We'll put it in another segment. We'll put it in another
All right,
segment.
all right.
The only one thing that kind of came to mind, you know, I know Martinelli didn't have the best of minds, but we've got to be very careful that we don't burn out these youngsters too soon. You know, he's been on a fantastic run. He's probably, you know, the best thing since sliced bread. But Arteta must be mindful that these youngsters, especially Martinelli, that we do not burn them out. Glenn.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, exactly. Because I was surprised Saka started yesterday. Expected Kolasinac to come back in, because Saka is now becoming a mainstay. So I would have rested him for the Premier League game. But I would say the players, Saka, Martinelli, they really need. They've been played a lot, yes, and right now it looks like we're actually depending on the both of them. We're actually depending on Martinelli and Saka, which is not great at the moment. They're supposed to be feeding off the more experienced players, the likes of Aubameyang, the captain, Lacazette, and Saka is not even a left back, but he should be learning from the likes of Kolasinac. Another thing I would say, I really don't want Saka to end up as a left back, because as a winger, he'd be very, very lethal. His end product is really good. So if he's pushed, but no judging him anyway, because since he came in, the first game, actually, we'll come back to the Everton game. The first game he actually played as a left back was against Everton away, and since that day, he's almost made that position his own. And as Raz said about Tierney being worried, the same with the defense. Someone like Pablo Mari is probably wondering why he was signed, and Mustafi is still starting ahead of him. So good competition.
That was a surprise. But yeah, Raz, you're right. It's good to have competition where, again, we don't have players who feel so, you know, confident that they're going to be an absolute certain on the team sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you with us? I think you've got some lag on your Wi-Fi.
When we come to key moments in the season, where we go into key moments in the season with our best players, they're injured. They're injured. Sorry. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, in patches.
You've got some lag on your side, Raz.
I can see you guys.
Yeah, we can hear you. Do you want to try coming off the show and then getting back on again so you can refresh your Wi-Fi?
I'm sorry. What I might do? Okay. What I might do? I might just go back. I do. I see.
Yeah, because there's he's got a lot of catching up to do. I think you know what with those youngsters. You know, again, I don't want to repeat the situation. You know, Ainsley Maitland-Niles has done really good at right back to be a cover for Bellerin, and I was actually surprised he didn't play Bellerin. Was Bellerin injured, Glenn? I don't think so.
No, he wasn't injured. I wasn't surprised Bellerin wasn't starting, but I was surprised that Niles didn't start ahead of in place of him instead of Socrates. Bellerin needed a rest. Let's not forget he was injured for a while and then came back and then got injured again. So we're supposed to be careful with him, meant to be careful with him. And even the likes of Saka, we're supposed to rest them. The only players who can really play every day are Xhaka and Aubameyang. Aubameyang is really energetic, so he never really gets injured. Another player I thought would start was Martinez, the goalkeeper. So as I said, Arteta really knew what he was doing with the team. He knew it's going to be a tough team, no underestimating them. So, yeah.
Yeah. Right, Raz, are you back with us? How's the connection?
I'm back with you. Are we
Better.
good?
That's better. That's better, nice and clear. All right, so you want to say your piece?
Right. Sorry, Alex, one moment. No, I have to cut it off. All right, sorry, there's someone who wants some hotspot on my phone. I have to cut it for that. Okay, so I was saying about if you check back in Arsenal's previous histories, the amount of times that we've had players either suspended or they were injured, and we didn't have a big enough squad. We put players in positions that just to fill those spaces, rather than having those key players when we need to push on. So it's good that we're having competition. I think the most key and interesting part as we go into the latter stage of the season now is the way that Arteta starts bringing some of those experienced players in, maybe, hopefully not at a cost or the detriment to the team, but it doesn't unbalance the team too much, because we're going to need to get these points now to push us up further into the, hopefully, I'm hoping it's a cup run, but to start finishing up a lot higher up the league.
Absolutely. Anyone was just passing by, just watching this segment of the EASYTALK bite-sized version. We're not going to be going more than an hour. I've got Glenn kindly with me, who's also got his own channel. Go over there. It's really good stuff. He's got content stuff on his channel there. And I've also got Raz, who's my co-host on CANNONFODDER TV. We've just been talking about the Olympiakos game. Some youngsters who put a blinder in, and Lacazette scoring again away from home, and Saka with another assist. Make sure you subscribe to CANNONFODDER TV on all platforms, especially on YouTube. We are back and up and running. There is some business this Sunday in regards to Arsenal being back in the Premiership, and it's familiar faces and places. I say that because I think at some stage before Unai Emery was appointed, I think Carlo Ancelotti was some people's favourites to come in and manage and steady the ship at Arsenal. And then you've got Arteta, who played at Everton. Can I get your guys' summarisation about Sunday's game against Everton? Who wants to go first?
Okay.
Go first?
I'll go first. I think it's going to be rather edgy. Is Theo Walcott going to be playing?
No, I think he's injured.
Oh, he's injured.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of a weird one, because some of the fans who was calling for Ancelotti to come in, I think Ancelotti might want to make a bit of a point of this as well. We're playing away, aren't we?
Home.
Oh, we're home. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I got a feeling to win. I'm going to go for like a 2-1 win, because I think also in a sense Arteta's going to want to prove something as well. We've got a bit of momentum going. We just got this win against Olympiakos away. We had a really good result against Newcastle, but I think he wants to put a further stamp on his authority, the way that we want to play at home as well now. And let's face it, Newcastle, although they were really edgy with the first half, to be honest, and I actually know that the message we were exchanging with in the first half, because it didn't seem like that was the Arsenal that we wanted. Come the second half, it was a different kettle of fish, and I think that now Arsenal would want to start. I think it'd be good if they can start fast. Put Everton ain't too bad a team, to be honest. I think they've I'm trying to think what they've been doing within the last couple of matches, but they've been okay.
Well, they're currently standing 9th place, the one position above us.
So it's up to us now to take the advantage and put them to the sword, as it were. I think we should just go all out. We've got really nothing to lose. I mean, with the time and some points, as I mentioned earlier. Yeah, it'd be a strange fish, as it were. It'd be good for Arteta to start flexing his team as well.
Okay, Glenn.
Well, it would be really, really nice to see Arteta getting one of his former club. And since we moved to the Emirates, we've played Everton 13 times at our place, and we've won 9 of them, and we've drawn 4. They have never actually beaten us at the Emirates. That was a surprising start for me. I thought with the likes of Tim Cahill and those other good players they had, they would have beaten us at least once, but never. And actually, their last victory at Highbury was in 1996. So
yeah,
we really, really have a good record against them, and we've had a couple of good victories, like in the first FA Cup we won in the 2014 season. We beat them on our way to winning the title. They've beaten us. There's another time they beat us. The same season they beat us 3-0 at their place, Lukaku scoring and stuff. But at the Emirates, we always have the better of them. Let's not forget the day Aubameyang made his debut. Scored, Mkhitaryan got 3 assists, Ramsey got a hat-trick on that day. So we really, really have the better record than them. So to say,
yeah. And what do you think about currently the old ex-Arsenal players in Iwobi? I've done my preview, and he's still only 23 years of age. Iwobi, he's still very young.
It hasn't really worked out for any player leaving Arsenal. I mean, Sanchez, Iwobi, Walcott, Giroud, all those players that were mainstays at Arsenal, scoring 100+ goals, they've never really proven themselves in those clubs they've gone to. And it's sad about Iwobi because literally I haven't seen him the entire season. Same with Danny Welbeck at Watford. I haven't seen them the entire season. I even sometimes forget about them. So although
Chamberlain hasn't done too bad though, has he?
Yeah, he's been injured for most of it, and his team make him look good either way. So
let me quickly go into the chat. There's just been a couple of comments here. One of which is from Richard from ARSEVE TV. He says, "Evening, lads."
Right, Richard.
And he goes on to say, in the opening 5 minutes, we should have been 2-0 down, but Olympiakos didn't take their chances. But then saying that, we had chances as well. So I think things kind of even themselves out, because they had chances and we had chances. And then he also says, what did he say? It wasn't, excuse me, it wasn't a great performance, but we got that all-important away goal to take him to the returning leg at the Emirates. Okay, that's just been the only comments we've had so far. Before we actually get into the predictions for Sunday's game against Everton, there's been reports in the news that Arteta has come to blows with Matteo Guendouzi, who is Raz's favourite player.
Okay.
Well, it's true, isn't it?
Let's put this on record. Let's put this on record. For those who have kept up with Easy Talk, Alex and I have this wager that Guendouzi hasn't scored. He's still yet to score, and that if he doesn't score at the end of the season, then it's an ice bucket water challenge. So I said, okay, well,
yeah,
okay. Well, at this moment in time, of course, he hasn't scored. However,
and he's not going to score.
okay. Well, you're the one who's running this course, Alex. I did put out a instant DM to Guendouzi. I've still yet to hear anything, but anyway, joking aside, as Glenn had opened up his comments about Guendouzi, that he's come from French League 2, and he came straight into the first team. Of course, anyone that comes into the Arsenal first team, there's got to be something about them. Again, past histories. If you look at Anelka just came into the team. I didn't know about Anelka. I don't think that many people did know about Anelka. It wasn't until he scored against Man United on that famous night that helped us win the Premiership. It was the home leg first. That everyone started, bumping their gums, as it were, about Anelka, and he only stayed with us for about a couple of seasons. Then he went off to Real Madrid. So the correlation between Anelka and Guendouzi has come straight in. He's performed. Yes, he does lose the ball in certain areas. There are enough older players around him and coaching staff to tell him what to do. So that should really be ironed out. I still believe that there's a good player in the making. Again, last night's performance, he did all right. Now, there's always going to be some friction between a player that's talented and a manager that comes in and he's trying to set up his shop. I don't have the inside track about what Guendouzi may have said. The way that some newspapers may report it may make it sound more than what it is. If Arteta is the kind of manager or coach that he is, then he'll literally put his law down, and if anybody don't adhere to what he has to say, then quite rightly, you have to take that player out. You either suspend him, fine him, or ban him. And if that's what Arteta has done, and he's done that immediately, and all of a sudden that player's come back in, it means that he's made his point. So Guendouzi, to me, is a very young talented player. We've got quite a few young talented players. They're making their way. They've either put the passes in or the goals. I think one of Matteo and Guendouzi's run against Aston Villa at home, he set up the penalty. So there's a lot of good qualities to him. Before, we was all, if again, this channel, we're all on Mustafi's back, and Xhaka and Ozil and Lacazette to a fair extent. We're moving away from that now. We're supporting our players. So yeah, I'm supporting Guendouzi. Of course, I want him to score, to put this bet between my brother and I to one side. But I would also want to support him in the fact that as long as he's an Arsenal player, as long as he's playing well, if he's not playing well, then of course you've got to drop him. In the history of Arsenal, going back about 5, nearly 10 years, we've had players who have not performed, but we still kept them playing because we had not a bigger squad. Now that squad's coming up, every player should be thinking about their spot.
Glenn, what do you think about the reports that we heard this week about the friction between Arteta and Guendouzi's attitude at Dubai and the way he was training?
About your bet, the two of you, I actually feel bad for you, Raz, because I can't see him scoring this season. So, Alex, how many degrees are you talking for the cold water?
You can start getting it right now. Huh?
Oh, he's got
you can start getting it right now. But for Guendouzi, I would say if it's the kind of, obviously right now everything is rumors. So if it's the kind of disrespect that the likes of Balotelli was showing to Mancini, the fighting the coach and saying F what they say and stuff like that, that is definitely not allowed and it should be banned and stuff the way Raza said. But I remember a couple of years ago, like not a couple of years ago, like 20 years ago, you guys remember when Rooney was young and he was a hardhead, and he was getting yellow cards and applauding the referee for it. That time, Ferguson was told, how about you talk to your player and work on his discipline? But he said, a player like Rooney, young like this, if you try and tone down his fight, you're killing the player. So Guendouzi right now is a fighter. Yes, he's a bit indisciplined in the fight. I see him every time people are shoving in the pitch, he's there. He has to be there fighting. So the fight, you definitely don't want to take the fight away from him. So if you start telling him, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, he's only 21 or something. So it's
20.
really, really young. So no need to take away his fight from him. But if it's in discipline, that he's friends with Aubameyang and Lacazette, they can talk to him, tone his indiscipline just a bit down, and he still has a future at Arsenal. Yes, he's not I don't think he's a defensive midfielder, like the Xhaka Kante position. So if I normally hear, I think it's Stan who normally says we don't need a number 10. So if you actually play with 2 number 8s, Guendouzi would work in that kind of formation. So he still has a future at Arsenal, definitely.
Well, I've got to say, that his performance last night was one of his best performances, because he was so disciplined in his positional play. For me, I'm so used to seeing him marauding forward in all different places where he shouldn't be. But I thought last night he was very, very disciplined. He stayed in that era, just in front of the back four, very, very disciplined, and that's what I want to see from Matteo Guendouzi. In regards to the attitude, again, we're not privy to what really happened there. And if it is true that he was probably mouthing off and not showing any real respect to what Arteta was asking him to do, you've got to look at the senior players, the likes of our number 10, who was very disrespectful to the previous coach. We saw Aubameyang, the stuff that was getting in the media there. So for me, I don't think he's had the best of role models around him. And he's probably thinking, well, I could probably do what I did because the senior players are kind of challenging the coach. But he's only young, and he will learn. He will learn. I just think that he's been very, very lucky not to have been sent out on loan. When you look at Reece Nelson, Smith Rowe, Nketiah, those guys went out on loan. I don't think he's set the world on fire. I just think he's been very, very lucky not to have been sent out, on loan. But he's here. Let's try and make the most of it. Let's try and mold him into the best player possible, in the future. But again, that's just my thoughts. That's just my thoughts.
What I'd like to add to that, if I may, is the fact that he's only 20. He's 21, 20. So if you look at it, I remember when I was 20, and your head when you're a 20-year-old, if you're whether you're playing in a team or if you're working for a company, there's some things that you do pick up and you think that, well, you may be able to get away with, and there's some other things that you don't. It does depend on the people that you're around. So again, giving them the benefit of the doubt, if it was as serious as people tend to speculate, or if it was as serious as I would have imagined it would be, then Arteta is strong enough to say, right, you know what, you're on the bench, or you know what, I'll transfer you, because we can't afford those kind of luxuries anymore. And also, we've got younger players now coming up who is willing to take those spots. As you said before, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. So if Guendouzi had a good night last night, hopefully now he'll think, you know what, while I'm playing for the best club in the country, in the world, and I'm fortunate. There's a lot of talented players that have played for big clubs or bigger clubs, and they've gone to the wayside because of their attitude. It doesn't last. You can't be in this environment thinking that you're going to get away with stuff. It does catch up with you. So hopefully that performance will help him turn the corner.
Let me just quickly say something, just to kind of tail it off. If any of you have seen the documentary 89, where Arsenal preparing to play against Liverpool, to go to Anfield, and they showed behind scenes footage where George Graham is speaking to the players, and Lee Dixon actually says, that he was scared of George Graham. There are players, there are thousands and thousands of players who do not make it as a professional footballer. So again, we're only going by, you know, what we've heard through the media. And if it is true, Matteo, remember where you are. Do your best for Arsenal. So when you do eventually end your career, the people will remember your name on the back. You are in a privileged position. Make the most of it. Make the most of it. And like Raz said, there are plenty of other players who can come in, who will come in and take your place. Where's Jack Wilshere? I haven't heard nothing about Jack Wilshere. Where is he? A footballer's career is very, very short. Very, very short. 1 or 2 injuries, you know, and a bad, you know, run of form, you are out. You are out. But
well, another thing I would say, the problem with Arsenal is that we really do lack leaders, because no one is that in discipline in a Roy Keane team. No one is that in discipline in a Vieira, John Terry team. Now for Guendouzi, he looks to the guy who plays next to him for advice. The same guy who plays next to him is even more indisciplined than him. He's been in trouble this season with the fans, lost his captaincy within 2 weeks. He tries to look at the guy in front of him, Ozil. Where was he at the start of the season? Fell out with the previous coach. And another thing too is I don't think Emre was that kind of manager like George Graham to be scared of. So he was brought up around a manager who doesn't have that kind of strong mentality. But now I think Arteta really does have that. So no one is here to show indiscipline, and let's see how it goes. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, anyone who's saw the Easy Talk we did, I think it was Max from Arsenal Rants, and Raz was on there as well, and he was saying that with these players, no matter what they do, they're still at Arsenal. You know, Xhaka is still at Arsenal. Ozil is still at Arsenal. And so there's no consequences for those actions there. And so if you want to really, you know, lay out an example of what you want, discipline, whether it's, you know, by leading by the captain or the coach or the manager, there is no captain at Arsenal. There's no captain.
I was going to ask you. Aubameyang's captain, but would you consider giving the captaincy back to Xhaka?
No, no.
Who would you give the captaincy to?
Glenn,
I would go to every player. There's literally no one who deserves that spot. No one. You try and make an argument for Lacazette, but again, he's been on poor form. You have to look at very many things: the leadership qualities, maybe the current form. But how can you give Xhaka? I even wondered. I was even shocked when he was given the captaincy. How can you give the worst player at the time the captaincy? Seriously, that shows how far we are. Look at, as I've said, the likes of John Terry and the likes. Even Chelsea's captain right now, Azpilicueta, he has some leadership qualities. Look at Henderson at Liverpool. Probably the only team that doesn't have leaders is probably a team like Man U, same ship with us. But teams like Man City, Vincent Kompany there, you can never do such things at such a club. But our captain, fighting fans, deputy captain, I don't really think Aubameyang is a captain still. That shows you how bad we are. We just gave him.
But what about David Luiz?
I was thinking that, but
I can't stand him. I don't rate him, but he appears to be the one when they're in the huddle. He appears to be the one communicating and talking to the players. And you've got Aubameyang with the armband just there listening. I'm thinking, you're supposed to be the captain of Aubameyang. You're supposed to be the one speaking to the players. And you've got David Luiz, you know, secret agent David Luiz from Chelsea, talking to the players.
But you remember, you know, we've always said about this, that the captains that we had in the past, I don't understand how we haven't now, here we are, 2020, now, have got a player who can actually command. My stance has always been that a captain's got to be from defence.
Yeah.
Maybe even midfield, but not up front and not a goalkeeper. But then we've handed out the captaincy like confetti. You know, everyone seemed to get a piece, And then all of a sudden, when it comes to actually having to dig out a player, you know, pointing the finger, saying, "Now, hang a minute now, you know, you're not putting your weight, you know, sort it out." Or having a team that can terrorize the opposition when they're in the tunnel. You know, who do you look to? Everybody look to each other just to play. Bellerin. He doesn't. I don't want to put a downer on our players. I'm just saying that we was quite fortunate back then to have the you knew who the leader was.
Yeah.
You knew who the leader was, whether it was Adams, whether it was Vieira, even Henry. Even Henry. You know what I mean? Who do you put in that mold now?
You normally look at the most experienced player. I mean, let's look at the ones that are 30 plus years in our team. Ozil can never be a captain. He's 30 plus.
No.
Aubameyang, you'd expect him with 30 plus. He could be a captain, but I don't think he's supposed to be the captain. We have like 3 or 4 older players, but none of them can make it as captain. Actually, the person you can make an argument for is someone like Guendouzi, but here he is with the indiscipline problems.
No.
The fight he has in the next couple of years, he can end up as captain.
No.
We literally have to sign a captain. We literally have to sign a captain.
Yeah. We have to find someone that.
What about
Tierney?
No?
What about Holding? What about Holding? To me, Holding was thereabouts. He was.
Could be. It could be.
He could be, but
I'm not too sure.
I want a player who's there for 95 minutes every single game. I mean, Holding, yes, he can the English quality and he understands the game. He knows what it is how it feels to be an Arsenal fan, how it feels to play at the Emirates better than the other players. But again, he never plays. He's always injured. Mustafi, you'd expect him maybe to be a captain, but he's not always. You cannot never depend on him. Socrates, language barriers. We're in trouble. We actually need to sign a lot of players.
Yeah.
Even Matosaka was a really good captain at his time.
Yeah. And it's funny when you look at the evolution of the team. If you look back 5 years, there's not been any real stand-up captain. 5 years.
Koscielny was he wasn't a captain. He wasn't a captain.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So before we wrap it up, I actually want to put it out to. I know I've got some viewers here. So the number's been fluctuating between 8 and 9 people watching at any one time. So the people who are currently watching now, before we wrap up this segment of the Easy Talk, come into the chat and let us know who at the current squad of Arsenal players would you have as captain. I mean, for me, there's no clear-cut names that comes to mind. Glenn's already said maybe you look at the players who are, 30 and over. Doesn't cut it. Doesn't cut it. You look at the players who have been at Arsenal the longest. Ozil, Bellerin. No. So those who are watching now, come into the chat and let us know which players of the current squad would you have as our captain. Guys, prediction for Sunday.
We might have to put Arteta as the captain.
Captain, manager.
Captain, coach, manager, advisor, everything.
That's a good call.
For the prediction, looking at Everton, the last 5 games they're unbeaten. I think 3 wins and 2 losses. They've scored. I wrote down some stats. They've scored 10 goals and conceded 6. So I had Raz saying it will end as a 2-1. That is possible. I probably expect us to score, but again, you never know. Our defense does have a bit of authority now and shape, and like under Emre. And we've only won 5 home games the whole season. We normally used to depend on our home ground, but right now we've been poor. And we've scored the last 5 games. We've scored 8 and conceded 4. So it's looking like a goal fest, maybe a 3-2 or something. And from the previous meetings, we've had 2-1s. We've had 5-3s when Rooney had gone back to Everton. a couple of nil-nils, 1-nils. The first game we played this season, we had a really different team, I would say. The last game we played last season, if you look at the squad we had when we drew, we had the likes of El Neni. Only like 3 players would play from that team. So I'll probably go for, depending also on the squad. If Pepe comes back in, I'm expecting Pepe, Ozil to come back in, Aubameyang, Lacazette. I'd go for a 3-1 win.
Yeah, and you're right there. You make a good point. That it really is all dependent on the starting 11. You know, as much as we have our own squads in our minds based on what we think, it all depends on the players that Arteta starts. I've also gone for a 3-1 as well, by the way, Glenn. I just think, you know, now, you know, we appear to be on a slight roll now, and Lacazette seems to be back, you know, in the right form. I've also gone for a 3-1.
As long as it doesn't start that midfield it started against Newcastle. Midfield would only start at home to Newcastle, Ceballos, Ozil, and Xhaka, because all 3 of them are too slow. And with the likes of Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin, they would be run over. If we played that midfield against Liverpool's midfield, we would get smashed 6. So I hope he brings back Torreira, and Ozil, of course, is fresh. And
Raz, you said for prediction, you said 2-1, didn't you?
I said 2-1, but we can't start slow. We cannot start slow because Everton will just, with their poor record against us, Everton will want to try and prove something. Ancelotti will want to prove something. So they're coming in thinking, okay, new slate. If Iwobi plays as well, he probably would want to put a point across as well. I thought Theo might be playing, but if he's injured, then he's injured. And maybe that might not be a bad thing as well, because again, Arsenal players who've gone away from us always seem to come back to us with a point to prove, and they get away with it. So I feel that it's a cautious 2-1, but we can't start slow. If we start slow, then it's going to be hard. It's going to be very hard.
Can you guys imagine if Iwobi ends up scoring the winning goal? I'd get sick.
I tell you what.
I'd agree with that. We really need to start well, because apart from the Man U game, there hasn't been a game where we've played flawlessly for the 90 minutes. Against Leeds, we would have lost that game in the first half, recovered in the second half. Against Bournemouth, played well in the first half, lost it in the second half. So if we actually play well for the whole 90 minutes to get some confidence heading into the second leg against Olympiakos, next week we actually don't have a Premier League game because the Man City game has been postponed, which is a really good thing. So if we get a victory here, it's all of a sudden 2 wins in a row, maybe a clean sheet, 4 clean sheets in a row, and you're on a run. We have West Ham, Brighton next in the Premier League, so you can get into a run.
Before I get into the chat, Glenn, I've got to say that's a good call. How about Arteta as a captain, man? Head coach, captain, physio, motivator.
Until the end of the season, at least.
All right. So in the chat, we've got Stan the Man, or Stan the Geezer, as I call him. He says David Luiz is captain in all but name, and that's what we say. You know, when you see the players huddling around, he's the one head down talking to the players. So then give him the armband. Give him the armband. Take it away from Aubameyang and give it to David Luiz. You know.
Don't you guys really believe, though, you should have a captain who's actually levels? Because I don't really trust our defenders in being the captains. I mean, you really need someone you can look up to, because Luiz is capable of making mistakes here and there. Yes, everyone makes mistakes, but Luiz, Mustafi, Xhaka, they'll make 5 mistakes each in a season. And another thing, Luiz, he really annoys me. Those free kicks he normally takes, he really annoys me. He's never shot on target.
You had David Luiz, you had Xhaka around the ball, and you had Lacazette. I was thinking, please, David Luiz, don't take it. And he took it. I'm thinking, no, give it to Lacazette.
So imagine Saka looking at him like, this is our captain? Hell no. So David Luiz, nope. Still with Arteta.
Listen, my vote goes for Arteta, man. My vote goes for Arteta. And then we've got Thunder Road, who I think is a new viewer. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do. Thunder Road, he says, I'm here because of Stan the Man. Yeah, make sure you sub. And then Stan says, Thunder Road, thanks for stopping by, mate. And then he goes on. Oh, he says, just admit it. His outburst is served to get him stripped, but Xhaka would be our best captain in the squad. I don't think so. You got to have some
quality of the player.
Go on.
Yeah. If you look at the previous captains, right? You look at someone who is there 110%, who is like no quarter asked, none given, who leads by example, who leads the team out, who leaves everything on the pitch. We don't have anyone of that ilk at this moment in time. You look at Gerrard, you look at Keane, you look at I said Vieira, Adams. Even I have to go back even to my time. Frank McClintock. Yeah, people had steel. You looked up to them. If you messed up, you knew that they'll hold you up. So you didn't dare do anything. We don't have anyone who you can say, you know what, that's my captain.
Yeah.
We don't. He's not like the go-to guy. We don't have a go-to guy. You know what I mean?
Against Newcastle, the first 15 minutes, there's a time Xhaka just fouled someone. It wasn't even needed. So you actually need someone with game management.
Yeah. He got a yellow.
Yeah.
And needed.
Silly. All right. Standerman says again, Louis for him. Richard says a fully fit Tierney as captain. I've got OOS Lycey X. Hi guys. Yeah, hi. Make sure you subscribe to CANNONFODDERTV. Tierney is a good shout. But what about Arteta, man? Arteta's a good shout as well, man.
Have you really seen enough of Tierney to make him captain?
No, but I think what people are raving about was it when we played a game in Europe and one of our players got badly fouled and he was like one of the first players in there in the opposition's face, and the opposition players back in his face, and then Bellerin came over. So I think for his sheer ruggedness, I think people were saying he could be a possible leader, but he's injured. He always gets injured.
If we could have a combination of Aubameyang's quality, Saka's and Martinelli's desire, Xhaka's captaincy skills, as the guy said on the comments, all that, and plus Guendouzi's health, something, we'd have a really, really good captain. Really, really good captain.
Yeah.
But there's no one who has the package. No one has the package at Arsenal.
Thunder Rose says Xhaka followed by Bellerin. I'll definitely consider either Holding or Bellerin as vice captain, but there's no clear captain material out there. Sorry.
And again for Bellerin, people normally say you need captains who, as Raz has mentioned, those captains, the likes of Gerrard, Vieira, those guys aren't out there hairstyle concerned about their dressing. Those players would come into the pitch and play and head straight home for a beer and sleep. As in, you don't need someone who's out there for fashion and stuff. We need someone who can lead. And if we are like, if a gun was put to my head and I was told to pick a captain, I would probably go for Luis.
Defense is so much better on Arteta, says Don One. Don One is one of the oldest subscribers to the channel. Yeah, I will go along with that. The defense is more stern, is more rigid. There seems to be a better communication amongst the back four. But again, like we said, against Newcastle, the back four were playing the ball left, right, with no real need. Get the ball forward. Get it forward to the midfield so we can get it forward to the attack.
Yeah. I'll tell you one other thing as well with the back four. The name of that guy from Juventus, is it Lorenzo? Or he ran at our defense countless times, and you had Bellerin who couldn't keep up. You had I think Mustafi played as well, didn't he? The defense was literally at 6 and 7s. It's like, well, who do we pick? Do we go with him? Do we not go with him? By that time, he got his shot across.
Yeah.
There's no one saying, right, that's your man. Let me drop back just in case you're in trouble, but that's your man. There was no one taking. That's the thing that I feel with Arsenal is when you have a player with pace running at us, that's when we start looking at each other rather than thinking, well, that's my man, I'll take him out.
Yeah.
In case we have a couple of minutes, can I ask a question for the guys in the comment section? What do you think of Pablo Mari? Because I don't see why you would sign someone on loan for a couple of months and you're literally not playing him, because by the time he's getting paid, it will be May and he'll be off. So if it was a permanent signing, you'd say maybe he's being he's gelling now with the team for the start of next season, but it's only on loan. I know the likes of Mustafi have played well, but what do the guys think about Pablo Mari? Should he be starting or we should stay the way we are?
Yeah, there you go, guys. So everyone who's watching now, like Glenn says, what are your thoughts on excuse me, Pablo Mari? You know, we've brought him in for best part until the end of the season. Was it really worth him coming over? You know, if he's not going to get much, you know, play time, you know, or game time at Arsenal. Onwards with more comments. I've got Double Slice X. If Socrates was a little younger, I would consider him. He speaks English very well, by the way. Xhaka is all right, but discipline issues. So probably Bellerin. I went with Socrates when he first came in because for his sheer tenacity and fight, because he's limited in his ability, but he fights and he doesn't mind going toe to toe with the attackers. So he was my choice when he came in the first season at Arsenal. But yeah, a younger Socrates maybe. But again, injury issues.
But he's the perfect age for a captain. His age is correct. My top three would probably be Luis, Lacazette, and Socrates for now.
Okay. Don Juan's going for a 2-0 win on come Sunday. Stanleyman says, Thunder, also check out from Blau Square. Yeah, okay. Did a bit of promo work there. Cheers, Stan. What else is there? Let's have a look. What else? We've got Luca from Arsenal Blogs. Hi. Your prediction for Everton, go Arsenal 2-1 Everton. I ain't confident because Ancelotti is getting the best out of Everton. Well, Luca, you would have seen that we already did the prediction. Glenn went with a 3-1. I'm also going for a 3-1, and Raz is going for a 2-1.
I don't really know why Luca is confident in Everton winning that game because we've been playing well recently and keeping clean sheets.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Thunder Road, what's Louis' quality? Making arm gestures. Socrates does it as well. You know, when he's got the ball, he's passed the ball along the line, and he's doing this. So they're all at it. Everyone's at it. But I just want one person to be dominant and controlling and communicating, not half the team like as if they're in the airport, you know, trying to air traffic control.
Remember what Adams used to say? He said that how when the way he got the referee,
he's gone again.
Everybody put their arm up, so the linesman backed him.
Your Wi-Fi is gone a bit slow again, Raz. Can you hear me?
Lagging again.
Can you hear me?
Just repeat the point.
Okay, say again about Tony Adams.
No, it's all right. Let's carry on because my time's gonna go. So
yeah. Right. Okay. And then Stanleyman says, I didn't think we would get a win at Olympiakos. So I'm optimistic that we can get a win at Everton. And we're on a roll as well. You know, 2 clean sheets. 2 clean sheets. You know, 4-0. Yeah. So. Don Juan, I'd rather have Xhaka as captain. He's the one the players voted for. Well,
it's actually 3 clean sheets, you know.
Say again, Glenn?
It's actually 3 clean sheets. Burnley away, Olympiakos away, and Newcastle.
Yeah, so there you go. It's crazy that our best defender is a defender who isn't known for his defending. David Luiz. Yeah.
Luis should be a midfielder, in my opinion.
He should a little bit further up. Yeah. Kieran Tierney was captain for Celtic and for Scotland. Good shout. There you go, Glenn. Tierney.
Yeah, I was looking for a place where people have seen his captaincy, that he can captain a team. So if he's captain Celtic and Scotland, then maybe. But I haven't seen enough of him in terms of the play on the pitch. I still need to see more of him.
Yeah, okay. In regards to your question about Pablo Mari, Glenn, Thunder Road says, I probably got Mari on a loan, injured like Kim Kallstrom. Yeah, my goodness. We pick him, don't we? We pick him. Mube Goon is in the house. What's up, boys? I'm late. You're always late.
You're late.
Always late, Mube.
We're going.
And in regards to the player who the defense couldn't handle, Valentino Lazaro is a Newcastle player on loan from Inter. Okay, and one more, I think, because we'll be here all night going through all the comments. But guys, listen, whoever's watching now for the first time, make sure you subscribe to CANNONFODDERTV TV on all platforms. I've got Raz in the house as well as Glenn, the new improved Glenn. We've just been talking about the match last night versus Olympiakos and Lacazette, who's Mube's main man, got the winning goal. And we've also been talking about Guendouzi and his slight clash, alleged clash with Arteta. And of course, the business of Premier League action on Sunday versus Carlo Ancelotti's Everton. Yeah, so just a couple more before we head out. Mube, controversial as ever. Ozil, captain, leader of men. Yeah, but not Arsenal men, Mube.
Ozil can't even captain
He's on a Hennessy roll.
Ozil, hey, we'll get relegated with Ozil as captain, to be fair.
God daring me. Listen, Mube, I'm gonna let you have the last say there, man. But like I say, you know, subscribe, like, and share to CANNONFODDERTV TV on all platforms. I want to say big thank you to Glenn for coming back again for the second time. And again, it's not going to be the second time. We'll have you back again, Glenn.
I can't wait to be on. It's always fun to chat about Arsenal and to chat with you guys. And nice meeting you, Raz, too.
Yeah, nice meeting you too, Glenn.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, I think I've not got much to say apart from that. Raz, thanks again for coming back on to CANNONFODDERTV TV again. I know we've got
problem, bro,
that we need to talk about the channel, but we'll talk about that at a later stage.
Yeah.
But if you've been wondering who or what you've been watching Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world.